Scott Summers here, X-Core Sweet Rides, continuing on with the Bandit X project. We are down at Schneider Racing Cams, talking to Kevin Cantrell. We're going to get a cam for the Pontiac 455, and I think we're actually going to go with a roller cam on this one. So what kind of information are you going to need from us?
First and foremost, excellent choice on the roller cam. Some people out there might not be sure on what a roller cam is versus a traditional style cam. The lifter rides on the surface of the cam, as you can see right here, and the lifter is going to ride right here. If it's a roller type, it's got a roller bearing on there. It's like a wheel, definitely more efficient. That's why we all drive cars with wheels instead of having sleighs, you know. So an old flat tappet slides on there, a lot of friction. You don't want that. So definitely a good choice with the roller. A few things we're going to need to know is, compression ratio of the engine, what heads you went with, how those heads flow, whether they're iron or aluminum. A lot of technical data that you should, if you're building the car, you should really know what's in your engine. You don't want to just be buying a crate engine if you're going to be putting a custom cam in it anyways. So, definitely want to know how you're going to be driving it, rear gear ratio of the vehicle, tire size, transmission, choice like that. But the biggest factor is how you plan on driving the vehicle, what you want the vehicle to, how you want to perform, what you expect out of it. And that's basically what I'm going to need to know.
So, Kevin, I see we got a couple different cams here on the counter and some lifters. What's the difference between the two?
All right, well, earlier I was talking a little bit about flat tappet versus a roller tappet cam. Here in my hand I have what we call a flat tappet or slider lifter. And they roll here. There's a flat tappet cam. As you can see, the profile lobe is going to be a little pointier. And the lifter is going to travel along the surface like this. As the lifter moves up and down, according to the duration and the lift on the cam, two things we need to talk about, that's going to move the valve open, or it's going to move the rocker and turn push rod and the valve open and close. And that's going to determine how much fuel goes in and out of the engine. How much fuel and air in and how much exhaust out. And ultimately, an engine is basically a big air pump. The more fuel that goes in, the more power it's going to make, and the more exhaust that's then going to need to go out. Here with the roller, again, we were talking about the efficiency. These are both small block Chevy camshafts, by the way. I chose two of the exact same, a flat tappet and a roller, just so you could see the difference. Here's a factory roller lifter. Here are aftermarket ones. These lifters are going to slide along this, so as you can see, it's going to roll here. And that's going to reduce friction, therefore adding power or robbing less power. Roller tappet cams, interesting thing as well. Since it is a roller, you're actually able to have a lot more lift and duration or throughout the curve, which gives you more power throughout the entire RPM range.
Do people have more of a choice on going with a roller than they do with a flat tappet as far as like the performance and all that?
Oh, I'd say it's exponentially different. With a roller type tappet, again, you're not limited by lift. I mean, with the old flat tappets, the lifter here will ride, and if you have too much lift or duration, or rather too much duration and not enough lift, or too much lift and not enough duration, the lifter is going to start hooking on the edge of the lobe. So you need to run a really big lifter in order to make that work. Now with a roller type, you don't have that. It's just going to ride throughout there through the entire range. So we have people with very, very short duration cams running lots and lots of lift. So before you couldn't do that with the flat tap, but it's really nice, and it makes it convenient for a lot of people to get exactly the cam they want, whereas with a flat tappet they would be limited.
So can you actually spin higher RPMs in with a roller cam than you can a regular flat tappet?
The camshaft type doesn't really determine the RPM range, but there is some truth to that. The biggest limiting factor with a camshaft and RPM range is the lifter type. These are both solid type lifters. A hydraulic type lifter has a hydraulic actuating valve inside, and they're going to pump up, so you don't ever have to adjust your valves. Really nice, really convenient for average driver, but they're RPM limited because the lifters are heavier. A solid type, you will have to adjust your valves more often, but they're more for serious performance, or, hey, I really don't mind going out and wrenching on my car every other couple of weekends to, make sure my valves are all staying, steady and staying right. But with that, you get higher RPM range. I mean, I have friends and associates that they rev their engines up to 9,000 RPM. I mean, granted, you do need the parts in order to have the engine survive up to that point, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible, whereas with a hydraulic roller, which is what I personally put in my car because I'm a little lazier. I like to spend my weekends with my wife and actually driving my car. I put a hydraulic roller in there, and I don't really plan on revving it past 6,500, and I'm okay with that. So it all depends on, again, how you plan on driving your car and what you want out of it.